Welcome to my video. This is Eckogen. I'll be going over the mechanics of Nacha, the first boss in Brood Chamber. The boss has a ranged check. If the tank is too far, he will jump on the tank and cause a room-wide AoE. The roles for the boss are marker and 3 orb blockers. Each orb blocker will position at 2, 6, and 10 o'clock, and they'll block orbs around 11 meters. I recommend tanking the boss at 12 o'clock. We'll talk about the mechanics first, and then the attack rotation. Mechanics in normal mode happen at 80 and 40%. The message Nacha awakens the Blood Condenser appears. It's going to mark the closest person by phantom gripping them and places a 20-second debuff that has 10 stacks on the marker. The tank should back off a little bit so they do not get a mark. The 3 condensers around the room will activate and launch 1 orb towards the boss. The order of activation is RNG, and the mini-map will tell you when one becomes active as it lights up red. In our case, 10 o'clock was first, 6 o'clock was second, meaning 2 o'clock will be last. Remember, the order is RNG. Nacha will then cast a room-wide one-hit AoE. So a summoner or assassin party iframe is recommended for this. A 90-degree AoE field is aimed at the tank. The tank should make sure that this hits 12 o'clock, as it's unblockable and causes knockback. The first orb at 10 o'clock was blocked, and that was blocked around 11 meters. So 11 meters is where you want to block the orbs. The orb blockers will be immobilized with a 10-second debuff. And if they are not saved before the debuff expires, they will die. There's the second 90-degree AoE that's aimed at the tank. Make sure that's directed at 12 o'clock. So remember that the marker had a 10-stack debuff on them. Each time they hit the boss, it reduces the stacks. The marker needs to time it so they get rid of all stacks just as the first orb is blocked. When all stacks are removed, the marker will have a 6-second buff, and that buff is what you need to free the orb blockers. The marker iframes into the first circle of the first orb blocker and touches them. So the contact will transfer a copy of their buff to the orb blocker. So that will now give the first orb blocker a 6-second buff, and the 6-second buff that the marker had, that's still ticking down. And the red effect around the outer circle, that is a death zone. So you need to iframe into the circle using SS, dash, hooks, etc. The boss will do a frontal stun attack. It's blockable. So now the first orb blocker is freed, and they go save the last orb blocker. And our last orb blocker is at 6 o'clock. And the marker saves the second orb blocker, and they're at 2 o'clock. But remember, the order is RNG. The boss is going to cast a 180-degree AoE field directed at the tank. The tank needs to be in position for where the first orb block location was. This ensures that no one is hit as rescue operations are underway. So in summary, the marker saves first orb blocker, and then the second orb blocker. The first orb blocker saves the last orb blocker. After saving the orb blockers, their circles will become swords. There's a second 180-degree AoE field, and that's directed at the tank again. The tank can stay in the same spot. Now, getting hit by any of these fields will apply a bleed stack, even if you iframe them. So as the tank, if you're close enough to the boss, you can pretty much sidestep it or just walk through the boss, and that's how you avoid the fields. The message Nacha siphons the blood or the blade force appears, and he will absorb the swords. Each sword will damage him for 4% of his health, and the boss will only enrage if he gains 2 stacks. And this is how stacks are gained. Stacks are gained from failing to block an orb, or if he absorbs a circle because someone was not saved. And then he's going to end the phase with a room-wide 5-hit AoE, so you want to use Summoner, or sorry, Force Master or Destroyer Sheath for that. Now we'll go over his attack patterns. So he's going to do a 2-hit frontal swipe, followed by a jab attack that causes knockback. All these are blockable. Next is a downward sword thrust. It's unblockable, causes knockdown. Followed by a back swipe that can cause knockback. It's blockable. He does a double spin attack. It's blockable, causes knockback. This is where you want to CC him. He does an upwards sword thrust. It's unblockable, causes knockup. And then it's RNG if he swipes to his left or to his right. And that's unblockable, causes knockback. He does a frontal stun attack. It's blockable. He moves around the tank. And then he does another upward sword thrust, followed by either a left or right swipe. And that's his entire attack rotation. So 40%, time for mechanics. He's going to mark the closest person. There's the 1-hit AoE room-wide attack, so Summoner or Assassin party iframe for this. There's the first 90-degree field. Make sure the tank directs that at 12 o'clock. Orbs are then blocked. Remember that the order is RNG. There's the second field. Direct that at 12 o'clock. He does the stun. So remember that the marker saves the first orb blocker. Once that's done, marker goes to second orb blocker. And then the first orb blocker goes to the last orb blocker. So there's the 180 degree field. That's directed at the location of the first orb blocking. Now for the second phase, he does a 270 degree field instead. And the safe zone is directed opposite to the tank. So the tank needs to position it so that the safe zone is within the location of the last orb blocked location, or spot, so to say. And then everyone should be in that spot. So he siphons the Blade Force. Swords will damage him. He does the 5-hit room-wide AoE. So FM Destroyer Sheath for that. And that's it. That's his mechanics. Now there's a special attack that he does that's not shown in this video, and I'll talk about it. The special attack happens roughly 35 seconds into his attack rotation. And what he does is that he'll do like a sword slash to each person, and that's going to cause a knockback, but they are blockable. And then he's going to end it by casting a 270 degree AoE field with a safe zone behind him. So that's it for his special attack. And alright, that's the mechanics of Nacha, the first boss in Brood Chamber. I will include the summary of the mechanics in the video description. As always, you'll find my social links down there as well. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace out.